a servant with no army, a city with no walls, and an impossible mission that everyone said would fail. This is the story of Nehemiah, one of the greatest underdogs in the entire Bible. Nearly 140 years earlier, Jerusalem had been destroyed by the Babylonians. The temple had been burned, the walls torn down, and God's people carried away into exile. Although some Jews had returned to their homeland, Jerusalem was still a shadow of what it once was. Its walls remained broken, its gates destroyed by fire, and its people lived exposed to danger and disgrace. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away in the Persian Empire, Nehemiah lived a comfortable life. He wasn't a king, he wasn't a prophet, he wasn't a military commander. He was a cupbearer to King Artaxerxes, a trusted servant responsible for protecting the king from poison and serving his wine. Then everything changed. One day, Nehemiah received devastating news. Nehemiah 1:3 says, "The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and its gates are burned with fire." The moment he heard it, his heart broke. Nehemiah 1:4 tells us, "So it was when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned for many days. I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven." Before Nehemiah ever rebuilt a wall, he sought the God who could rebuild a nation. For months he prayed. Then God opened a door no one could have expected. King Artaxerxes noticed Nehemiah's sadness and asked what troubled him. This was a dangerous moment. Persian kings expected cheerful servants. Showing sorrow in the king's presence could cost someone everything. But Nehemiah prayed and spoke boldly. He asked permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the city, and God gave him favor. The king granted his request. Not only that, but Artaxerxes provided letters for protection and timber for the construction. The most powerful man in the empire became the supplier for God's rebuilding project. It's a reminder that God can move hearts and open doors that no human effort can unlock. But arriving in Jerusalem was only the beginning. As the walls went up, opposition appeared. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked the builders. They spread fear. They threatened attacks. They tried to stop the work at every turn. Yet Nehemiah refused to quit. At one point, the workers built with one hand and held weapons with the other. Imagine trying to build a house while simultaneously defending it from people who wanted it destroyed. That's exactly what they faced. Then came distractions. Nehemiah's enemies repeatedly tried to lure him away from the work. His response is one of the most powerful statements in Scripture. Nehemiah 6:3 says, "I am doing a great work so that I cannot come down." Nehemiah understood something we often forget. Not every opportunity deserves your attention. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every distraction deserves your time. If God has called you to build something, stay focused. Whether it's your faith, your family, your marriage, or your purpose. Despite the opposition, the wall was completed in just 52 days. What had remained broken for generations was restored through prayer, faith, and perseverance. The lesson of Nehemiah is simple. Don't measure your situation by the size of the ruins. Measure it by the greatness of God. The same God who helped Nehemiah rebuild a city can help rebuild the broken places in your life. If this story encouraged you, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and join us here on Biblical Underdogs, where we uncover the forgotten heroes of Scripture and discover how God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And remember, God specializes in rebuilding what the world has given up on.